Hey there YouTubers, how you guys doing? Today I'm going to give you a little tips and tricks if you got an ohm meter and you don't think it's accurate. I'm going to show you guys how to do it and how to pretty much ohm out your meter. Right here's exactly 1 foot 0.0 by 0.1 ribbon wire. Exactly 1 foot. I've done this a couple of times to make sure it was accurate. There's the little hook that I made to hook underneath. I'm going to be putting this on a Steam Boy right here. So I'm going to put it on my Genesis here. And we're going to ohm this bad boy out. Now I've done this a couple times, that's why it's already set up to go on here. It's not hard to do, but we're gonna capture the wire, and it is kind of a pain. The wire just flimsy, you know, being all bouncy and flimsy and all that, but we're gonna get her in here. Make sure it's in all the way, which it is not, but it's captured. That's the biggest thing. It is captured underneath that screw. And I put a thumb screw on here, but we're going to come up. We're going to capture this little piece. Now this is going to be a little bit harder because you got to pretty much get this thing in there, which I'm going to put it on my ohm meter, and I'm not going to do it on camera, but I'm going to capture that wire underneath that thumb screw that I put on here. This thumb screw is from a AGA T3. It was the fill hole screw, but come to find out the fill hole screw is the perfect size diameter screw and everything for the Steam Boy, so made the positive screw a lot easy. Now that 0.8 by 0.1 1 foot should read 0.76, well 5.76, sorry, and I didn't capture it right, but it's off a little. So let's see if I can get that ground captured right, because it's where the bend should be at, and I got a little bit out past that, so I'm going to loosen this up, get in there just the way it was, well, the way it should be, make sure it's not fucking shorting out on the center post like it just did. Okay, now it's captured a hell of a lot better. Now it should be reading 0.76. Well, if you look, I'm at 5.77. This wire here should be 5.76, and you see if I bounce it around, it's not changing ohms or nothing, so it's captured properly, screwed down tight, 5.77. It's a very little easy trick. Make sure your ohm meter is at least within, like this one here, 0.01. That's all the more it's off. Now the last time I had it on here, it was 5.76. So it bounces around. So I have a feeling that it's, off within 0.005 or something like that, because it does bounce around between 0.576 and 0.577. So let's turn it off and turn it back on again. See if we can get 0.5. Oh, that time. Okay, so now it's reading 5.75, so it is bouncing around a little bit, but I can move this thing around, go like this, go like that. It's not changing. Ah, there we go. Okay, I could see where it's changing now. If I go like this, oh yeah, I could change it just by touching, because it's touching the side too, which I don't want it to do that. So let's loosen this ground up a little bit and turn it in just a little. Let's see. Now, yeah, so now I'm getting a little bit lower, which is about where it should be anyhow, because it was shorting out on the side. Like the Steam Boy does have like a little recessed deck, so to get within accurate, it's kind of hard with the way the wire is bouncing around right now, and it will be touching the side every now and then. So sometimes it will but you know, no matter how much I'm bouncing around, the only time it will change is if I grab this and go like that. See, I can get change by hitting the side with the, but 99.9% of the time, yeah, see, now I got reading dead on. It's just on how it's touching this deck and how it's, you know, being incorporated underneath there. But it's pretty accurate. I know it's maybe off by 0.005. You know, it does bounce around a little bit when you move this around. It's not the proper deck to be doing this on. But it's just showing you it's easy to find out if you're pretty close to what specs are on your wire. Just look it up online, look up your specs. 0.8 by 0.1 is 5.76. 1 foot. That's what it should be reading at all the time. So I know this ohm meter is pretty accurate. 28 gauge round wire is actually 5.26. I have a foot right here. I'm not going to put it on because I know, you know, there isn't much difference between these, and I know they're pretty much accurate between each one. You know, depending on how I get secured underneath that ground screw is where it ohms out at, or if I move it from out underneath that ground screw. But I know this ohm meter is pretty accurate for everything. Now, the only reason why I've learned to do these tests and everything is because I have used somebody else's ohm meter, and their ohm meter was showing, like with I'm going to pull the Steam Boy off. I'm going to show you exactly what I had on there on their ohm meter, and it was showing 0.61, which was my AGA T2. On their ohm meter was showing 0.61. Well, I'm showing 0.51 on here. Well, we know I've already done the testing. I know this is pretty accurate. So this is showing 0.51. The other ohm meter is showing 0.61. I was going by the other ohm meter. And then when I got this one, it started to worry me. That's why I learned how to, you know, that's why I looked online, figured out how much a foot of whatever wire I'm using, you know, whatever wires I have, a foot of it, and that's how I tested my ohm meter. I put it on my Steam Boy. My Steam Boy is the one I did all the testing with, and it's pretty accurate. So I know with just that, my ohm meter is accurate. That means the other ohm meter I was using was off by 0.1. Well, 0.1 might not sound like a lot, but when you're building like a 0.27 or a 0.2 or something like that, that 0.1 is a hell of a lot. Because that 0.2 is actually a 0.1. That 0.27 is actually a 0.17. That's pushing a battery. A lot of batteries cannot handle that kind of amperage. People, you know, at least do this. If you don't think your ohm meter is accurate, do this test. Whatever wire you have, look it up. See how many ohms it is per foot. Cut a foot. Put it on your Dripper or Genesis or whatever you have, and test it. Make sure you're vaping at the right ohm. Or at least know how far off it is. That way you can note it. That way from now on, whatever build you have, you're accurate. Other than that, there's not a whole lot to say. But I emphasize, make sure your ohm meters are right. This one here I know is correct. The one I was using before that I borrowed from somebody is incorrect. It's off by 0.1. That 0.1 is, in some people's minds may not be bad, but when you're pushing a battery, it could become bad. Like me. If I didn't want to go below 0.6 because I'm using 10 amp Panasonics. Here I'm vaping at almost 0.5. I'm creeping up to where I didn't want to be. But now that I have better batteries, I don't care about the 0.5. I mean, my T3. If I'm not mistaken, it should be 0.53, somewhere around there. Again, I had issues with this thing, so okay. Actually, it's lower. 0.46. 0.46. Of course, I am using my Samsung battery with that, but 0.46. That's pretty damn low, people. If I were using that on 10 amp batteries, I'd be like, oh fuck, shit, I gotta quit using this. I gotta rebuild it, make it higher ohm. And another thing is, when I do a review on this T3, there's a few things that I don't like about it, and a few issues I had with it when I finally started using it. But that will come on in a review. But I can't emphasize how much it is to figure out how accurate your ohm meter is. I know mine's pretty accurate now that I've done my testing. I showed you guys how to do the testing. That being said, thanks for watching. Vape on and see you next time.